Florida Republican was caught on tape outlining a plan to do mass voter fraud. And of course, he encouraged other Republicans to do it. This is awesome. So now, this is attorney Bill Price. Now, he decided he would broadcast his intentions to do voter fraud on Facebook Live, which, of course, the video, I would love to show it to you, but it has been since deleted, which is sad because I really wanted to watch that. Nonetheless, he described a plan to commit voter fraud to Bay County Republican Party members back on November 7th. This is according to a report by WSB-TV. Now, Price told a crowd of Republicans that he was going to move to his brothers in Georgia to register to vote in the January 5th election that, of course, determines control of the Senate. So now he's saying, this is my brother's address. I'm going to go to this address. And I urge you also to go and register at that address so that you can also do voter fraud with me. And so in response to that, one woman in the audience apparently asked, wait, we can truly register at that address? His response is, sure. But it also suggests having mail sent to that address to show that you did move to the state. And another woman had asked, and it can be anywhere in the state of Georgia, you can register, right? So if you've got cousins, dogs, cats that live somewhere else, it doesn't need to be one particular county. So they're also asking, oh, so not only can I go there and say that I've moved to Georgia so I can do voter fraud, but I'm going to pretend that my cats and my pets, all of these things, that they can also vote. So we can all do voter fraud together. These are Republicans. And of course, the response to that by Price says, yep, this is going to be a statewide election on January 5th. I'm going to be voting for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. And added, we have to win that election in Georgia. So I'm moving to my brother's house in Hiram, Georgia, and I'm registering to vote. And we're going to win that election in January. That's what needs to be done. If you don't want to do it, fine. Might as well move to Venezuela now. Get used to that lifestyle because that's what's coming. And so, again, he's telling his people to do voter fraud right out in the open, right on video. The dumbest thing. It is the dumbest thing. And of course, now he gets caught because, of course, he gets caught. And so what does he say? Price told WSB-TV, it's a CBS affiliate, by the way, in that area, that his comments in the meeting were a joke. Oh, yeah, that was, of course it was a joke, right? And he insisted that he hadn't actually gone through with the actions that he had described. Quote, I did not change my voter suppression or my voter registration, and I don't have 2 million roommates. But if my humorous comments bring attention to the massive and widespread voter fraud in Georgia that you were encouraging, I would submit to you that it's a good thing. But that's not what happened. In fact, WSB-TV confirmed that Price had registered to vote on November 8th using his brother's address and swearing to an affidavit. Remember those things that are not evidence of doing something wrong? But he said, tighten up my meat. Hey, I'm going to go and swear that I am a Georgia resident and that I am eligible to vote. He's saying that. Whoops. Oh, no. See, here's the thing. This guy does voter fraud, but he's too stupid to actually get it done, to have it actually work. And this is why voter fraud doesn't happen on a mass scale. Because if it did, we would, for one, know, and for two, because we have systems in place that stop this. For two, the people that usually do voter fraud are too dumb to actually do it correctly. I mean, again, Georgia's Deputy Secretary of State, Jordan Fuchs, confirmed on Wednesday that Price was under investigation for fraudulent voter registration, which is, of course, a felony charge. He said this, quote, "This isn't California. We actually investigate and seek to prosecute individuals who try to vote here legally. Our system is built to prevent this behavior. We will seek to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. Why the shot at California? I like, it's a needless jab, right? They don't allow voter fraud either. It's just there are more Democrats that live there. So why would you need to do voter fraud if you have more people on your side? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. But of course, they always, since they're all Republicans there, they've got to make a jab at California. Great, wonderful. But look, this voter fraud, this fake voter registration, can carry up to a 10-year prison sentence and a $100,000 fine. Now, Deidre Holden, that is the Paulding's county election supervisor, is a Republican. Her office actually flagged the registration because he's not an actual, again, resident of the state. And so her office was going to write to Price and say, and basically ask him to bring in his driver's license in order to cure it, right? So that you can do that. You can go and have the ability to come in and cure your ballot and prove you are, who you say you are, that you had actually moved and correct this, right? So now that was canceled after that office had been contacted by state elections investigators who also had seen his registration address, but had also seen that Facebook Live video. And they decided to share that video with Paulding's election supervisor. Her response to it was, quote, "What kind of message is this sending out to our children and our grandchildren and our neighbors that if you don't win an election, that you can just go out and steal one?" Well, look, that's what Republicans have been trying to do. Okay. She adds, that's absolutely unacceptable here in the state of Georgia. Well, it's unacceptable everywhere. We don't want people stealing an election. And guess what? Unfortunately, that's what the president of the United States is trying to do right now. Projection. This is one of the guys. It's one of the people that believes that it's just a bunch of Democrats that are going out there and doing voter fraud. When, ironically, he is the one who is doing the voter fraud. And again, here's the thing. A lot of Republicans believe this because when more people turn out, Republicans lose. And they can't understand, like, I don't know, it did not compute. Why is it then when more people turn out, we lose? It's because you're not a majority of the country. Despite the evidence, right, that Republicans like to present of like, oh, the country is right wing because we're in control. Yeah. Now Donald Trump won by losing 3 million votes. But no, the evidence shows actually that Americans are a lot of Americans are left leaning on issues, even if they don't necessarily, align or call themselves Democrats, but they believe in things like universal health care. Bernie Sanders, got a room full of Trump-loving Republicans to cheer for Medicare for all. And of course, the majority of Americans believe in the Green New Deal. Majority of Americans support cannabis legalization. That's a progressive position. They support fighting, against climate change, taxing the rich, in favor of common sense gun regulation, even in favor of racial issues. Look, people overwhelmingly supported justice for George Floyd. And yet, the extreme right lives in a completely different reality. Fox News lives in a different reality. And so it's alternative facts. And again, reinforced by conservative media, Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, this right-wing radio, Sinclair Media. And ironically, the majority of voter fraud that does happen is done by Republicans. Because they know they're a minority. They're not in the majority. And look, the only reason they have an outsized influence in Congress is as a result of our broken electoral system, where you have people in rural Kentucky, for example, that have more representation in the Senate specifically than people in LA or New York, in more populous states. Their votes are worth literally several times more than people in California. And so these massive population centers, again, Seattle, New York, LA, very liberal, right? Or at least have very liberal people that live there. They get, the same amount of representation as the tiniest little town in the middle of Iowa. That's why the country is held hostage by people like Mitch McConnell. And again, it's because they're in a minority, right? They're desperate to stay in power. So they do voter suppression, of course, gerrymandering. And now in some cases, when that stuff doesn't work, well, massive voter fraud. While also being complete hypocrites on voter fraud. Now, there's one more thing that I found pretty hilarious, right? So now Carr went to go and talk to Price's brother about this because it was his address that was being used. And so they had decided to go and talk to him. So now he had been contacted by state investigators, but had not seen that Facebook Live video. So now on that, though, here's Frederick Price. He says this: the whole thing was just tongue in cheek. There's nothing there. Well, now Carr responded by saying, well, look, some of it was tongue in cheek. I can agree with that. But the other was a set of specific instructions for them to go and register and use your address in order to do voter fraud. Price answered, no. Just no. To which she responded, but it wasn't all a joke. It was real. This happened. Price responded by saying, okay, but no. Wow. To which, of course, she responded by ending the conversation by saying, okay, thank you, sir. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? I mean, seriously. Like, nope, no, that's not what happened. Nope. Even though you have clear documented evidence that that's exactly what happened, I say no. Republicans, man. Holy shit. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.